The morning started like any other training day. I'd been preparing for months for the Sierra Nevada Ultramarathon, a grueling 100-mile endurance race that would test the limits of human resilience. At 35, I was in the best shape of my life, a software engineer who finds solace in the rhythmic pounding of feet against earth when I am long-distance running. The mountain trail wound through pine forests and granite landscapes, a challenging terrain that demanded every ounce of concentration and physical prowess. I had trained meticulously, studying topographical maps, understanding elevation changes, preparing my body and mind for what many considered an impossible challenge. 12 hours into the race, the sun beat down mercilessly. My water supplies were running low, and the altitude was taking its toll. Each step became a negotiation between will and exhaustion. I could feel my body beginning to betray me, muscles cramping, breath becoming ragged, vision starting to blur at the edges. I remember thinking, just before everything changed, that I might not make it. Not in a panicked way, but with a curious detachment. The thought didn't frighten me. If anything, there was a strange sense of acceptance. Then everything fell apart. My consciousness seemed to dissolve, breaking into countless vibrational frequencies. I wasn't seeing in the traditional sense. I was experiencing. It was as if I had become pure energy, uncontained by physical boundaries. I wasn't up, down, or sideways. I was everywhere and nowhere simultaneously, existing in a space that defied conventional understanding. Quantum physicists might have found my experience fascinating. I was experiencing a state of existence that transcended linear perception. My awareness expanded beyond the constraints of my physical body, transforming into something both infinitely small and immeasurably vast. Time lost all meaning. What could have been milliseconds or millennia felt identical. I wasn't afraid. Instead, I was filled with an inexplicable sense of wonder, of curiosity about the extraordinary transformation happening within and around me. Gradually, the chaotic energy began to coalesce. I found myself in an abstract space. Not a room in the traditional sense, but a transitional area that felt like an entrance to something greater. I couldn't see, hear, or move in any conventional way, but I was acutely aware. Then they arrived. Non-human entities surrounded me, their presence radiating an intensity of love that human language could never adequately describe. It wasn't emotional love as we understand it. It was a fundamental structural love that seemed woven into the fabric of existence itself. They communicated without words, their intention and compassion flowing directly into my consciousness. I felt completely known, completely accepted. Every insecurity, every hidden fear, every moment of doubt was simultaneously acknowledged and dissolved in their presence. There was no judgment, only an overwhelming sense of understanding. Just as I was beginning to comprehend this extraordinary connection, the entities suddenly withdrew. Their movement was synchronized, almost ritualistic, as they bowed with expressions of profound respect and anticipation. A figure approached, what I can only describe as royalty, but not in any earthly sense. This presence carried an authority that wasn't about power, but about fundamental truth. It came close, so close I could sense its essence mere inches from what would have been my face. The communication was instantaneous and gentle. "You aren't finished," the figure said, not as a command, but as a simple statement of fact. "Your journey continues. There are experiences waiting for you, connections to be made, understanding to be gained." I felt no resistance. There was no fear of returning, no desperate clinging to this extraordinary state of being. Instead, there was a calm certainty that this was part of a larger design I couldn't fully comprehend. The journey back was different from the chaotic transition I'd experienced earlier. It was peaceful, almost tender. I could sense the atmosphere changing, could feel the gradual reconnection with my physical form. When I regained consciousness, I was in a medical tent. Doctors and race medics surrounded me, their faces a mixture of concern and relief. They told me later that I had been technically dead for several minutes. My heart had stopped, my systems had shut down. But I knew something they didn't. I had travelled beyond the boundaries of what we consider life and death, and I had returned changed. In the weeks and months that followed, I struggled to articulate my experience. How could I explain a journey that defied linguistic description? The love I had experienced wasn't sentimental or soft. It was a fundamental force more real than gravity, more constant than time. I didn't become suddenly religious. If anything, my experience transcended religious frameworks. What I had encountered felt larger than any single belief system, more intricate than any dogma. What remained was a sense of connection to everything. The mountains I ran through, the code I wrote, the people I encountered, all were part of an interconnected tapestry, far more complex and beautiful than I had ever imagined. The ultramarathon medal now sits in my study, a reminder not of an athletic achievement, but of a journey that transformed my entire understanding of existence. A journey that taught me we are so much more than we perceive ourselves to be. And somewhere, beyond the horizon of our understanding, that loving presence continues to watch, continuing to guide us home.